Hey, Jack Club's painting here with a tournament quality Dark Angels painting guide. We'll be starting off with a black prime through the airbrush with Stanolres Black Primer from Magic Airbrush Go. Make sure to get a nice solid prime over the entire model. Painting the body and the head separately for ease of painting. This is called Assemblies. Really nice technique. Next, we're going to do a light pre-shade with the airbrush with white Stanolres primer, which is going to make our colors a little bit more vibrant and highlights. Don't go too overboard here. We're going to go with our first color, which is going to be Army Painter Angel Green. It's really nice dark green. I'm just going to cover the entire model in a single coat of this. Don't go too opaque with the coat because we do want some of that pre-shade showing through. Just want to get a nice solid coat in all parts of the model, even the underneath, because we even want to tint some of that black paint. So it's a really nice deep dark green. Next color is going to be Green Skin from Army Painter. Doing our first highlight, we want to make sure to maintain a 45-degree angle or higher on the model. Just get a light coat of that. Then we're going to go into our final highlight with Army Painter Goblin Green, hitting all of the brightest points of the armor. Tops of the shoulder pads, the backpack, tops of the knees, toe of the boots, things like that. Nice targeted highlight with that Goblin Green from Army Painter. You can see here how I'm targeting certain areas of the armor just to make those areas pop. It's going to give us a nice color transition from super dark to really bright green. I'll switch over to the head here with the hood. First step is going to be a single coat of Beastie Brown from Vallejo Game Air. I'm going to be hitting the underside. So I'm still maintaining that 45-degree angle, but I'm hitting the underside of the hood area with that Beastie Brown. After that, we're going to Army Painter Skeleton Bone, going back to a top-down 45-degree angle, getting a single nice coat. You don't want to completely eliminate the Beastie Brown, but you do want a solid coat of that Skeleton Bone beige color. For our final highlight, we're going to Brain Matter Beige from Army Painter. We're pretty much spraying top down with the airbrush now, trying to get a really nice, clean, bright highlight with that Brain Matter Beige for a really nice off-white hood color. And I just dusted the underside a little bit so that the Beastie Brown isn't too powerful. For our wash, we're going with the Army Painter system. So this is a mix of the Quick Shade Wash Mixing Medium, the green tone, and some dark tone. The way you want to do this is mix up that quick shade mixing medium with your green tone and then add dark tone as needed because the mixing medium tends to brighten up the wash quite a bit. It's a really great wash system. It's super clean. You can be really aggressive with the wash, and it doesn't like to sit on any flat surfaces and cause any coffee staining effects, which is really nice. So you can be pretty aggressive with the brush. You just want to make sure to keep the brush moving around. Don't want it to pool anywhere. If you get too much in one area, just wipe off your brush and then suck some of that wash off there with the dry brush using the capillary action. Get the whole model in this. Gonna go to the hood here. Gonna base in our flesh tones. This is Army Painter Barbarian Flesh for the base coat. Get a couple of nice light coats on the face. Don't want it to be too thick because then you'll start losing detail on the face sculpt. So just be patient. Give it 2 or 3 really thin coats with that Barbarian Flesh. You don't have to do this, but this is just a little bit of extra detail flair. I'm coming in with the Angel Green from Army Painter, scribing a line around the front of the hood. This is going to be a green trim section that we're freehanding in. Totally optional, but this type of freehand is pretty simple and easy. You're just drawing all straight line across the curves of the hood, and then we'll be filling in that negative space so that we have a nice green trim section. First with the Angel Green. We're going to fill that section in once the line is nice and straight. Just want to be real patient here. Do a couple of passes in that line. Be working with your paint really thin in case you make a mistake. You can just wipe it off real quick. So this is our second pass with the line. And then from this point, it's just color inside the lines. Same color, base it in with that Army Painter Angel Green. You can see it's really thin and light. Going to be a number of coats just because you don't want it to build up too much. So that line's established, you can come in with our next color, which is going to be the same green skin from Army Painter that we used on the armor workup. Just do a little bit of a highlight on there. Brighten it up at some of the points where the light would be making that green a little bit more vibrant. Hitting the edges of the hood. Still working with really thin coats, almost a glaze. I'm gonna go to a Dreachy Violet for the first wash on the face. It's a really good way of doing realistic human flesh tones. It's a really light wash with that purple. I'm gonna be doing a wash for the outer hood. This is the Army Painter system again. It's a mix of quick shade wash mixing medium, some soft tone and some strong tone for a very nice light brown wash. Thinned it out, of course, and we're just going over the whole hood section, letting it get all that nice cloth sculpt popped out. Doing a quick highlight section on the face with more barbarian flesh after that Dreachy Violet wash has been dried. Just picking out some of the details. Don't want to go too overboard. Then go up to tan flesh, which is a little bit brighter than barbarian flesh. Pick out some more of those details, some final highlights. Get a nice edge highlight on the edge of that green line that we drew on the hood. This is Goblin Green from Army Painter. Do a final really thin coat highlight right on the top of that hood. Next we're going to do an edge highlight and some really thin top highlights on our cloth here with the same brain matter beige. It's going to be a little bit more vibrant of a color when put through the normal brush here and with the airbrush. So the top we're just doing a really thin highlight, trying to get the very top of that hood to pop. Alright, next we're going to go in and paint all the joint sections and anything else on the model that you want to be black. I prefer doing black rubber sections for the joints on Space Marines. I think it gives a little bit of a neater look and better color separation than doing metal joints. So we're just using matte black from Army Painter here. Going in, we're going to get all the joints, hoses, anything like that, you want to be black. I accidentally skipped this step until the very end, but I ended up painting the ammo pouches and holsters black as well. Next, we're going to come in with our steel metallic. This is scale 75 black metal. Really nice dark steel color. Works great for gunmetal, base color for chainmail, swords, metal armor, anything like that. Really, really great paint. Really enjoy using my scale 75 paints because you can thin them out super, super thin. And they still have great coverage, so you don't have to be doing a whole bunch of coats. If you can't get a hold of scale 75, the color match for this is pretty close to Lato Gunmetal or Citadel Lead Belcher. So we're just going to come in and put a base down of this on anything that we want to end up being a steel color. For this model, it's pretty much just going to be the pistol there, blade of the sword, and I believe the grill on the exhaust bells of this backpack. If you're wondering what kind of Space Marine this is the Primaris Lieutenant model from the Dark Imperium box set from Games Workshop. Really enjoy painting the new Primaris Marine models. For our golds, we're going to come in with another scale 75 paint. This is Necro Gold, or Black Gold. And honestly, this is the best gold that I've ever used in my entire life. It's a very dull, lusterless black gold, but the coverage just can't be beat. Nobody can compete with the coverage of this paint. If you're like me and you really hate having to deal with finicky gold paints that just don't want to cover very well, I really suggest picking one of these up because, like I said before, with the scale metals, you can thin these down to almost the consistency of a wash and cover in a single coat, so the flow of this paint is just amazing. And you can see here that as I'm painting this paint is really thinned down and it just goes right onto the model. It sticks in place. Scale 75 sells all of their metallics in little box sets. So if you really want a really clean looking gold that is super easy to paint with, I suggest checking out their gold set and picking that up. And we're just going to go around and get everything that we want to be gold or brass colored. Here we're going to wash the metallics. This is Soft Body Black Wash from Secret Weapon Miniatures. It's an amazing black wash with a little bit of a detergent agent to it, so it really likes to just flow over the model and get into all the details and not pool anywhere. Works great for metallics we're using on this model because it'll get into all of the details and it won't dull it down too much. Depending on what type of gold you want to have, you can also use something like a red or a brown wash. I like using the black wash with Necro Gold because it is a black gold. Alright, now we're coming in to highlight up all our golds. This is Bright Brass from Vallejo Model Air. And I'm using the base brush here as kind of a dry brush, where I'm getting a little bit of that bright brass paint on the brush, and then actually wiping most of it off on a paper towel so that I can just kind of brush the tip over our details and have a little bit of that bright brass stick to the model. Because we don't want to overpower our Necro Gold. We're trying to keep that dark burnish gold theme to these Dark Angels, so we're just trying to get some of those details picked out again with the bright brass color and bring back just a little bit of that shine to them. But we're still maintaining that nice black gold finish. Alright, here we're highlighting up all of our surfaces that are black with Tire Black from Secret Weapon Miniatures. Tire Black's kind of a unique paint. It is a black paint, but it does have tiny hints of green and blue to it. And it's really, really good for highlighting up black for a nice, realistic black color without going through stark gray paints. So we're just going through, getting the casing on the bolt pistol there, get some of our joints with it, and sheath the knife, your ammo pouches if you want those black. Like I said, I forgot to do the step on the ammo pouches until the end, but those end up being black as well with a little highlight of Tire Black. Right here we're coming in with another Army Painter paint. This is Uniform Gray. Really nice, even mid-tone gray. And we're just getting all the ridges of our little accordion joint pieces there in the armor. Picking out those pieces with a nice stark contrast. Uniform Gray goes on pretty vibrant, but it does dull down as it dries. So if you only want to do a single highlight, this is a good color to do that with. Just highlighting up all of our surfaces are going to be black with this as kind of an edge highlight. Getting those hoses, we'll be getting a little bit of the bolter casing with it as well. Alright, here we're coming in with our dry brush. This is a back to basics with an IX dry brush. It's a really nice soft dry brush. It's what I call a rounded dry brush because the bristles aren't at a flat. They go up to kind of a round, and the bristles are really soft. They're not super stiff, so you get really nice soft dry brushes with it. I really like using it for smaller dry brush details like the sword here and other metallic surfaces like that. It works really great on organic dry brushing for stuff like cloth and bone. So if you can find something similar, I suggest putting that into your green arsenal. And we're doing something very similar to how we did our gold. We don't really want to get rid of our burnished steel color with that dark wash on there, so we're just coming around really light with the dry brush, getting the edges, some of the flats, but this dry brush is really good about not completely eliminating the dark surfaces there, the sword blade there. Alright, now we get to the edge highlighting of the armor. We're using Goblin Green, which is the same color as our final highlight, but like I said before, when you paint with a color using a hand brush, it's usually a little bit more vibrant than when you do it with the airbrush. The airbrush is for really nice soft transitions, and the normal brush is for really vibrant highlights like this. So we're just going to come around, get these edge highlights on the armor. We're not going to go crazy. Just going to come in and get wherever the armor would be the very brightest on the edges. And we're still edge highlighting here. For this first studio tutorial, I'm trying to get every single little step that I did and try to show it start to finish as best I could. If that's something you don't really want to see, let me know in the comment section. If you only want to see a little portion of a technique to get the idea of it, or if you want to see from start to finish on a particular step. And then going forward, I can edit the videos accordingly. I figured since this was going to be a start to finish tutorial guide that I would try to keep in as much of the kind of detailed brushwork stuff as possible. I know that sometimes choosing where exactly to edge highlight can be a little tricky on certain models, so I kept in this entire section of the edge highlighting the armor so that you could see exactly where I was putting those edge highlights. For some steps in this model, I decided not to have those in the video just because this is already going to end up being a pretty long video, and I was just trying to cut out as much as I could while leaving the meat and potatoes of the guide. So you'll see some stuff like purity seals and some company markings get blocked in between cuts. And I mean, purity seals are purity seals. You can pretty much choose to do those however you want. On this one, I just went with some normal Army Painter colors, some bone colors like skeleton bone, a little bit of brain matter beige like we did on the hood, and some Vallejo model color for the blue wax. And for the knee, that's just some more skeleton bone and brain matter beige, and some Army Painter matte black to create that company marking. I believe that's the 5th company of Dark Angels. Might be the 4th company. If I'm wrong on my lore, tell me about it in the comments. Now, if you're watching this and you're wondering why didn't I do this step way back when I started the armor workup, well, that's just kind of a personal choice. I prefer to not do any kind of edge highlighting until the very end, on the off chance that a mistake gets made and I have to repaint something. So with the armor workup, I like to do my airbrushing in the wash, and then do everything else, and then save the edge highlighting of the armor for last, just in case there's a mistake. Especially if something is airbrushed, because a lot of times it's really difficult to correct a mistake over top of something that you airbrushed with a normal hand brush. It can be done. It's just it takes forever. It's really difficult. So if a huge mistake gets made, then it's usually better to just mask it off and airbrush it. You can see there, that's why we work in really thin coats when we're doing edge highlighting, so that if one of your edges gets too much paint on it, you can just use the thumb eraser there and wipe it off. If you're pretty comfortable with your painting and your steady hands, then feel free to do your edge highlighting whenever you want to. Alright, so now we're going to attach the head here. A little bit of super glue, just put it right on in there. It's kind of the nice thing about painting in sub-assemblies is we have that super clean white and green hood there that we didn't have to paint around while we were doing everything else. And we're going to do some transfers. I'm using a two-part process. This is called micro sol and micro set. One micro set helps the transfers stick to the model, so you can see me dropping a little bit there on the shoulder. And the micro sol actually softens the transfers so they want to stretch. And if you're one of those people that gets really frustrated by trying to put flat transfers on dome surfaces like Space Marine shoulder pads, I highly recommend you pick up this because it's super cheap and it makes putting on transfers ridiculously easy. You just put it on there, the little drop of micro set creates a vacuum which sucks it down onto the shoulder pad, and then you can just very lightly brush it around and get any air bubbles or folds out of it as it stretches. The micro set also helps take away a lot of the shine associated with using waterslide transfers like this. We are going to matte coat this model at the very end to protect it, lock all those transfers and paint onto the model so they don't get scratched or scuffed up, and the matte coat will also help take away the shine of the transfers, but the micro set definitely does help quite a bit in case you don't like matte coating your models. I also save this step for last as well, just so that I don't have to worry about getting paint on these clean transfers. If you're really protective of your brushes and you want to use microsol microset, you might want to use a synthetic brush, because it does tend to kind of hurt the organic brushes a little bit if you use it a whole lot. So I'm just using a synthetic brush when I'm doing this here. Just brushing out all that microset from underneath, getting a nice seal on there, getting all the folds out. So you can see there I'm putting the micro set down, a little drop of it. Wait for that transfer to soften up a little bit with the micro sol, and then just drop it right under the shoulder pad. That little drop of micro set will just suck all the air out from underneath the transfer. Just do a little brushing on, wait for it to dry, and it'll go on perfectly. And with that, that's pretty much the last step. We're gonna wait for these transfers to dry up all the way, make sure there's no folds or anything in them, and then we're going to get out the airbrush again for our final clear coat. Alright, so we're just going to put a matte coat on the model. I like using matte coats for more realistic paint tones. You can use satin as well. I would not recommend using a gloss varnish. Gloss varnishes on miniatures on the tabletop just isn't really something that looks all that aesthetically pleasing. So I suggest matte or satin. This is the Vallejo matte varnish. Just mixed up in the airbrush with some Vallejo thinner, sprayed on really thin, just to matte it all back down. And that's pretty much it. You can take this guy when he's fully dry, base him up however you want, and continue on with your army for a super clean tournament level army pretty quickly. Not a whole lot of steps to this guy. Hope you all enjoyed this tutorial. Hopefully it helps you if you want to do some Dark Angels. If you want to catch some live tutorials, make sure to check us out over at Twitch, twitch.tv/JackClubsPainting with underscores in between each word. There'll be a end card with some of that on there. Thanks for watching.